Welcome back to Simple Tech Media. Today we're going to learn how to build another PowerPoint game. We're going to start off in Canva today, and I'm going to go into a presentation. And the purpose of this is to show how to set the animations and things in PowerPoint. So I'm going to move through the Canva part pretty quickly. And you can see that I've already started looking for some graphics, and I like to look for graphics that are similar to each other. So I'm going through and just doing a quick search. To look for graphics in Canva, you just click on Elements over there on the left, kind of towards the top of the list. And I started out with these little guys, but the color scheme, it wasn't letting me change them to the colors that I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. And then you will see me spread out the other graphics that I have chosen to use to kind of get me started with this. Down at the bottom of the screen, you can see that I have multiple slides that I was just kind of playing around with, getting a feel for the graphics that were available, and then kind of pinpointing the ones that I wanted to go with. So I've deleted the slides that I didn't want, and now I'm ready to go find something else. I'm looking for a graphic that'll let me change the colors that goes along with this idea of a video game. Now, this type of game does not have to be video game related, but I just thought that it would be a fun idea based on doing a game for a classroom. And I duplicated that little guy by hitting Control D. Control D or Command D will let you duplicate, and it'll also copy the spacing that you had, which is really cool. Now I just grouped all of these together so that I could go into the position option and make sure that it was centered and spaced out evenly across the slide. And then I just ungrouped them after that. Now I'm going to adjust the colors of these, which is why I picked this little graphic. And so I brought in the pause button that I found, and it allows me to use the eyedropper feature to change the color so that they do match exactly, so that I have that cohesive look throughout my presentation. Now that I have all the colors changed, I am looking for just some more ideas for graphics for this to see if there are any from this set that I'm missing. I like this level up. And I can tell that a graphic will let me change the color. Whenever I click on a graphic, you'll see the toolbar across the top where it says edit, and then there's a circle. Right now it's a pink circle. If there are circles that pop up there with different colors, that tells you that it's going to let you customize it to match the color scheme that you have. So that's what I'm looking for as I'm clicking on graphics. And then I would like some text boxes that allow me to kind of bring over this pixelized font. And so that's what I'm doing here. And for this game, I'm going to have my students answer some questions. And instead of having question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, I thought it would be fun to do level 1, level 2, so on and so forth. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm just duplicating these text boxes to make sure that I have access to what I want for them. And then also, again, to duplicate, you just hit Control D or Command D if you're on a Mac. And then you can grab onto more than one box at a time, or more than one object at a time, and duplicate. Save yourself some time. To download this, I went to Share and then downloaded it as a PowerPoint. So now here I have the basis of my PowerPoint. And Canva has a lot of nice features for putting together a presentation, but it does not have the animation options that PowerPoint does. And that's why I'm combining both of them for this activity. So I am kind of brainstorming about how I want my question slides to look. And you'll see me kind of move some things around here. I say you don't have to be stuck with your first idea. You can always make some adjustments to it. I'm trying to make sure that my color scheme is matching, so I'm using that eyedropper tool to make sure that they match, even down to that black color to make sure that it matches. Because my graphics are so colorful, I'm going with more of a white and black background scheme, but just trying to use those colors attractively. All right, you'll notice that when I click on that rectangle, it ends up moving. So I opened up my selection pane so that I could lock that rectangle in place. And if you don't know what I'm talking about there, let me know in the comments and I can do a video about that part as well. So here I have this little graphic that I really like, but it is kind of a hollow graphic. It just has the outline of the buttons there. And so you're going to see in a little bit, I'm going to add a shape behind it to make it more substantial because we're going to turn it into a button. Now I've added a placeholder and then I've started typing my question. And I changed the font for this. The pixelated font was too much for this. It did not work well. And so I'm looking for a sans serif font that's going to be easy for my participants to be able to read. And so that's what I've done there. I'm getting ready to turn this graphic into a button. I'm going to use an action button feature for that. But again, because it is kind of a hollow type object, I'm adding this shape behind it. Now it looks silly right now because it's white, but I made it that color so that you could all visually see what I was doing. And I'm grouping these two together. I do need to change the color though before I group it. So you see me kind of playing around with that for a second. I want the square to go behind the gaming graphic. And then I want that to just kind of blend in with that black background color. I'll group them together. Now that border is still on, so I need to turn off that outline for the shape so it just kind of blends. And then I'm about to turn this into an action. So PowerPoint has this great feature where you can turn anything into a button. You can turn text or graphics or anything into a button. So I came back to this slide and I selected my first little graphic there. And I know I'm going through it pretty quickly, but I'm going to talk you through what's happening. If you click on a graphic or a word or anything like that, you go up to the insert ribbon on your PowerPoint window. You would go to that middle section. It's going to have a place for a hyperlink, and I'm doing it here so you can see. So you have to grab onto your graphic. I remove that black border so you guys can see what I'm doing. Making sure that it's grabbed. And then I go to insert action, and then I can hyperlink to another slide in this presentation, which is what I'm doing. And I want all of these questions to link back to my main slide, which is slide 2. I wouldn't set any of these up until you have all of your slides put in there, especially there at the beginning, like an instruction slide or your title slide or whatever. But I have it now set so that that's a button that will link back to slide 2. That's an action button. And it's so quick and easy to do. And now that I have all my formatting ready to go, I can just duplicate this slide. It's going to copy that action button that I have in there. It's copying all of the other design that I've put in. And I'm just going to update these level numbers just quickly. I have 21 characters on slide 2, so you'll see me go up to level 21. And now I want to make it so that I'm just saving these graphics here at the end. I duplicated the slide that had those, and then I hid this slide. So you see there's a little slash with the number next to it. And then I right-clicked on it and chose hide slide. That's why It just makes sure that as I'm making adjustments to these graphics, I don't mess anything up that I can't go back and easily fix later. So I've decided for my game that my students will come up to the smartboard and they will tap on the slide. The main slide that will be up is slide number 2 that has all my characters on it. They will tap on the character. It'll take them to a question. They will answer the question, and if they get the question right, it'll take them back to the other slide. They will tap on the little character, or the character will disappear based on what I'm about to set, and then something will be hidden behind it. It'll either be a heart, which means they get a point. It'll be a level up, which means they get double points, or it'll be a pause, which means that they lose a turn for the next time. And if they don't get the question right, then the other side will get to steal that from them. So that's what my intention is for this. And so I've resized these, and I'm going to just duplicate them and randomly put them on top of these little characters so that I can make sure that I haven't missed anybody. And then I'll move on from there. So I went to view and I'm turning on the guides. You can drag these guides around to help them move so that you can line things up. I just want to make it look like I've put some thought into how things are lining up. They may not be absolutely perfect, but I do want to try. Once I do this, my selection pane is on over there on the right side, and there are a ton of things listed because everything on this slide is listed in the selection pane. It's showing me all of those objects. And I'm going to rename them. It's going to make it easier to use the animations here in just a moment. So I'm going to click on all of these. I was just testing it to see what things were looking like. I clicked on my first little character, and then over in the selection pane, it highlights the box, and I'm just going to call the first one character 1, the second one character 2, then 3. I have 7 on each row, so I have 21 total, and you're going to see me go through and just rename these. And it takes a minute here, but it's going to save me some time in the long run. While I'm doing that, I will mention, if you ever have something that you want to stick and not slide around the slide, especially if you're making an activity where you're going to have students maybe potentially moving things that you don't want them to move, you can come in here into the selection pane and you can lock them. You'll notice next to these elements that I'm renaming, there's a little lock there that I could lock so that they can't be moved. Now that I've renamed all of these, I'm going to send them to the back. So I selected all of them and I pushed them to the back so that those little objects that are hidden back there can show. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And so for the first one, I have character 1, and then I'm going to have reward 1, then character 2, and reward 2. So I'm making sure that I'm following the pattern for how I am labeling these. And they may not be in that same order on the list, but that's the way that I want it to be. looking in the selection pane and I've decided that I would like to group these together here. Again, it's just gonna save me some time in the long run. And I think it'll also help you visualize that these two go together. So to move things around over there, you just hold down your left mouse button and then you can drag the reward up to the character, is the way that it's working for me. And then as I do that, if I put them in the correct order, the character should end up on top of the reward. So I put character 1, reward 1, character 2, reward 2, all the way down, and it should end up putting them back in order where the character's on top and then the reward is behind. They're all labeled, they're all in order, and this is going to help as we move forward. I'm going to keep the selection pane open over there, and eventually I'm going to get into my animation pane here in a moment. So I'm just reminding you, I said that I said that action. I have an action there as well, so it's linking to those slides. I should have that action here, and if I hover over these graphics, you'll see that there's a little box that pops up that tells me what it's going to link to. Okay, so we're right on track. And now I just need to make sure that all of these characters are linking to the slide that's associated with them. So character 1 should go to level 1 question. Character 2 should go to level 2 question. Character 3 should go to level 3 question, all the way through. And then you're going to see me just go through and set these actions for each of these. The nice thing is that when you choose the slide that you're wanting to link to, it shows you a preview of it. So if you already have your questions on there, it'll let you see if you're linking to the correct one. So I went into the presentation just to make sure that my buttons are working. So I'm just clicking back and forth between the buttons. When I click on the character, it should take me to that question. And it looks like things are working pretty good. Now I cut some things out of the video because I went back and rewatched it and it was going too fast. So ignore the fact that there are some objects there already. And let me show you how to set this so that you're able to make the little character disappear so your students aren't clicking on the same question each time. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to click on the character. So right now I clicked on character 5 and I went and added an animation, and it needs to be a disappearing animation in that it needs to be one of the red ones. And then you want to set a trigger for this. So on the animation ribbon here, over towards the right, you'll see that there's a button called trigger. It looks like it has a lightning bolt on it. I'm going to click on that and say on click of, and then I'm going to scroll down and find the character that matches this. And so this is the 5th one. So I'm looking for character 5, which is what you see me doing there on the screen. And what I'm telling it is that I want it to do this animation where it disappears whenever we click on that actual object. So here I click on it, it takes me to this because I already have an action set. The other one has an action set back to this slide, and then now there we are, and I can see that surprise that was hidden behind. Now I'm turning back on my selection pane, because again, it does kind of help with this process to keep up with what you're wanting to connect here. Now, the reward back there, I do want to do something with. I think it would be fun to have an animation to where this kind of grows as we are ready to look at it. So I'm turning on the emphasis animation to have it grow. And then you can check the effect options to make sure that it's doing what you want. Yeah, I want it to get larger. And then I'm going to add another animation so that it eventually disappears. And then I'm setting a trigger on this, and I'm saying that I want this to happen when I click on something. Now, eventually I want this to happen when I click on character 5, and then I'm going to want it to disappear whenever I click on reward 5. And sometimes it's a little trial and error because there are a lot of things that you're clicking on. And so it's just a matter of going back and double checking to make sure that the animations that you're setting are actually working. In this first one, I didn't follow through all the way, which is fine. I can always go back and fix it. And I almost took this out and I thought, no, because I want people to know that it's okay. If it doesn't work the first time, you just want to check it. Shift F5 on your keyboard will get you into your presentation mode from that specific slide. It's a quick way to go in and be able to just see if what you want to have happen is actually happening. So now I have the animation pane open over there on the right, and I can just kind of toggle back and forth between the selection pane and the animation pane. I'm just going through and actually fixing the issue that I did. So this was my first slide. And then if I click on 5, it should take me to question 5. And then that should zoom in because I have it after previous going and kind of zooming in. And then whenever I click on it, I have it disappear. So we're going to do it again. So I'm going to click on character 6. And this lets me know there when I'm looking at the selection pane that I'm on character 6. I'm showing you that you can toggle back and forth between animation and selection pane. Okay, character 6, I'm going to go to the red exit animations. I'm going to choose disappear because it's the same one I've been using, but just as long as you pick a red one, it would be fine. Then trigger on click of, it should be character 6 that I'm choosing. And then I'm going to go to the selection pane and I'm going to choose reward 6. Since I can't see it, it's back there. And here, this is where I'm going to choose the emphasis animation, grow, which is the yellow one. And I want it to grow after previous. On click of, character 6. And then I'm going to go up there and choose add animation. Since I already have one set, I'm going to click on that button. And this time I want it to exit. So I'm choosing a red animation on click of reward 6. Okay, it zoomed and I click on it, it disappears. Perfect. Click on that one, disappears. Zooms in, click on it, disappears. Perfect. I'm just testing them out to make sure that everything's looking good. So if I were to use this in a classroom with a smartboard, I would have the students come up to the front of the room, tap on the character that they want. They don't have to go in order the way that we're doing it. I still need to set that level 7 one. So the action's there, but it's not disappearing. So I need to set the animations for it. So this is the last one I'm going to do for this video. It would be way too long for me to do all of them. But we click on the character. We go to animations. Go to the red ones. I'm going to choose disappear, which is the one that I've been using. Trigger on click of character 7. Then on the selection pane, I'm going to click on Reward 7 and then go to Emphasis, Grow is the one that I've chosen. I want this to be trigger, start after previous, trigger on click of character 7. And then I should go to Add Animation. I'm going to choose an exit animation, which is the red one. Disappear. Trigger on click of Reward 7. And it's doing exactly what we wanted. That's fantastic. So now I'm ready to just put together a quick title slide. Again, following the design that I've used, making sure that everything looks cohesive from start to finish. I don't love this font for the title, but for the sake of the illustration, I kept it in there. Adjusting the spacing a little bit so that's easier to read. And you see that I had a placeholder here for this title slide. I would not want to add a slide now between slide 1 and 2, or really any of those. I would only add slides at the end so I don't mess anything up with those action buttons. I hope this was a help to you. If you have any questions about anything that we did, please let me know, and I would love to hear all about it.